When Ayo, the prince raised by a python, confronts the malevolent spirit Sese in the heart of the ancient ruins, he must channel the strength of his ancestors and the bond with his serpent guardian, Sese, to wield the mystical seal of Ori. The battle between light and darkness rages, with Sese's dark power threatening to consume them all. As Ayo's courage and unity with the spirits culminate in a blinding burst of light, the fate of his people and the balance of the spirit world hang in the balance. Thanks for clicking this video. Subscribe to my channel for more interesting and engaging stories. Happy watching. In the heart of the dense Yoruba forest, a small village named Odan was known for its peacefulness and lush surroundings. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the forest. Among them, the king, Oba Ade, ruled wisely and fairly. He was loved by all, but his heart bore a heavy burden. Despite his wealth and wisdom, Oba Ade had no heir. One stormy night, the village was struck by a terrible calamity. Lightning cracked the sky, and thunder shook the earth. The villagers huddled in their homes, praying for safety. Amidst the chaos, a cry pierced the air, and the queen, Yemi, gave birth to a baby boy. The joy of the birth was short-lived as a massive python, revered by the villagers as a spirit of the forest, slithered into the royal hut and took the newborn prince. The villagers were in shock and dismay. The python, known as Sese, was believed to be a guardian of the forest. Yet, it had taken their prince. Oba Ade, heartbroken and helpless, decreed that the child was meant to be with Sese, a decision that left the villagers bewildered and sorrowful. Years passed, and the village carried on with their lives. Meanwhile, deep within the forest, the prince grew up under the watchful eyes of Sese. The python, with its ancient wisdom, nurtured the boy, whom they named Ayo. Sese taught Ayo the ways of the forest, instilling in him the knowledge of herbs, the language of animals, and the secrets of survival. Ayo, though raised by a python, was not devoid of human qualities. He often wondered about the world beyond the forest, the people who looked like him. His curiosity grew with each passing day, and so did his longing for answers. Sese, sensing the restlessness in Ayo, decided it was time to reveal the truth. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the forest, Sese called around Ayo, speaking in a gentle hiss. Ayo, you are not of this forest. You are the prince of Odan, taken from your parents to protect you from a great danger. It is time for you to return. Ayo's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. He had grown to love the forest, yet the desire to know his origins was overwhelming. With Sese's guidance, Ayo embarked on the journey back to Odan. The forest, once his home, now seemed like a maze of memories and whispers. As Ayo neared the village, he was filled with trepidation. Would the villagers accept him? Would his parents recognize him? His mind swirled with questions. As he stepped into the clearing, the villagers gasped in astonishment. A young man, clad in leaves and animal skins, stood before them, a python slithering protectively around him. Oba Ade and Queen Yemi rushed forward, their eyes wide with disbelief and hope. Ayo, the queen whispered, her voice trembling. The prince nodded, tears streaming down his face. The reunion was both joyous and tearful, the village erupting in celebration. However, the return of the prince was not without its challenges. Ayo's presence stirred old rivalries and hidden secrets. A sinister force lurked in the shadows, threatening the peace of Odan. The villagers, once united in their joy, now faced a new danger that tested their bonds. Ayo, with the wisdom of the forest and the strength of the python, stood ready to face the challenges. He knew that his journey was far from over. The trials ahead would test his courage, loyalty, and love for his people. But with Sese by his side, and the spirit of the forest within him, Ayo was determined to protect his home and fulfill his destiny as the Prince of Odan. The villagers watched with bated breath as Ayo prepared to confront the darkness that threatened their existence. The story of the prince raised by a python was just beginning, a tale of bravery, mystery, and the enduring power of love and nature. The joy of Ayo's return rippled through Odan, but beneath the celebrations, unease simmered. Oba Ade called a council meeting in the village square. The elders gathered, their faces lined with worry. Ayo, sitting beside his father, listened intently as the discussion began. "Strange things have been happening in the forest," said Baba Shola, the oldest elder. "Animals behave erratically, crops wither, and a shadow seems to loom over us." Ayo felt Sese tighten around his shoulders. The python whispered in his ear, "It is as I feared, Ayo. There is an evil force at work." Determined to protect his village, Ayo stood up. "I have learned much from the forest and Sese. I will find the source of this darkness and put an end to it." The villagers murmured their approval, but Ayo's mother, Queen Yemi, looked anxious. "You have just returned, Ayo. Must you leave again so soon?" Ayo knelt before his mother. "I must, mother. If I do not face this threat, our village will never be safe." With a heavy heart, Queen Yemi nodded. Oba Ade placed his hand on Ayo's shoulder. "Be careful, my son. Remember, you carry the strength of both the forest and our people." Ayo set out the next morning, Sese guiding him through the familiar yet foreboding paths of the forest. The air was thick with tension, and the usual sounds of the forest were muted. As they ventured deeper, they encountered strange, dark vines that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a monstrous figure emerged from the shadows. It was a being unlike any Ayo had seen, a twisted amalgamation of human and beast. Its eyes glowed with a sinister light. "I am Ekun, the spirit of chaos," the creature hissed. "You think you can defeat me, boy?" Ayo's heart pounded, but he stood firm. "I am Ayo, Prince of Odan. I will protect my village from your evil." With a roar, Ekun launched at Ayo. Sese sprang into action, wrapping around the creature and squeezing tightly. Ayo seized the moment, using his knowledge of the forest to find a weakness in Ekun's form. He spotted a glowing amulet hanging around Ekun's neck, pulsating with dark energy. Realizing it was the source of Ekun's power, Ayo leaped forward and grabbed the amulet. Ekun howled in rage, thrashing wildly. Sese's grip tightened, and with a final, desperate effort, Ayo tore the amulet from Ekun's neck. The moment the amulet left Ekun's body, the creature disintegrated into a cloud of dark smoke, which quickly dissipated into the air. The forest sighed in relief, the oppressive atmosphere lifting instantly. Ayo and Sese returned to Odan, bearing the amulet as proof of their victory. The villagers erupted in joyous celebration, their fears vanquished along with Ekun. Oba Ade and Queen Yemi embraced their son, pride and relief evident on their faces. However, Sese's expression remained somber. "This is but one battle, Ayo. The forest is full of ancient spirits, both good and evil. We must remain vigilant." Ayo nodded, understanding the weight of his new responsibilities. The prince who had been raised by a python was now a guardian of both his village and the forest. His journey had only just begun, and the path ahead was fraught with challenges. As night fell, Ayo stood at the edge of the forest, gazing into the darkness. He knew that his destiny was intertwined with the land and its mysteries. With Sese by his side and the love of his people behind him, Ayo was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The tale of the prince raised by a python would continue, a story of courage, unity, and the enduring bond between man and nature. The future of Odan, and the forest itself, rested on Ayo's shoulders, a burden he was prepared to carry with honor and strength. The dawn of a new day brought hope and a sense of renewal to Odan. The villagers, inspired by Ayo's bravery, worked together to restore their homes and fields. Yet, Ayo's mind was preoccupied with the amulet he had taken from Ekun. It pulsed with a dark energy, and he knew it held secrets he needed to uncover. Sese, coiled around a nearby tree, observed Ayo with a watchful eye. Ayo, the amulet is a key. It binds the spirits and wields great power. We must find a way to destroy it, lest it fall into the wrong hands. Ayo nodded, clutching the amulet tightly. But how? Sese, where do we start? The python's eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. There is an elder in the far northern village of Igba. His name is Baba Tunde. He knows the ways of the old magic and may have the knowledge we seek. Ayo informed his parents of his plan to travel to Igba. Oba Ade and Queen Yemi, though reluctant to see him go so soon, understood the importance of his quest. The villagers gathered to bid him farewell, their faces full of admiration and hope. As Ayo and Sese journeyed northward, they encountered the vast and varied landscapes of their land. They passed through dense forests, crossed wide rivers, and trekked over rolling hills. Along the way, Ayo couldn't help but feel a deeper connection to the world around him, a bond strengthened by his upbringing in the heart of the forest. One evening, as they camped by a serene river, Ayo heard a rustling in the bushes. He sprang to his feet, ready to defend himself, but relaxed when he saw a young girl emerge from the undergrowth. Her eyes were wide with fear and desperation. "Please, help me," she pleaded. "My name is Ife. My village is in danger. A terrible spirit has taken hold of our people." Ayo's heart went out to her. "I will help you, Ife. Tell me more about this spirit." Ife described a malevolent entity that had appeared suddenly, spreading sickness and fear among her people. It sounded eerily similar to Ekun, and Ayo wondered if the dark forces were more widespread than he had realized. Determined to help, Ayo and Sese followed Ife to her village, Eri. The sight that greeted them was grim. Villagers lay weak and feverish, their faces etched with pain. At the center of the chaos stood a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes glowing with a menacing light. Ayo approached the figure, his voice steady despite the fear that gnawed at him. "I am Ayo, Prince of Odan. Leave these people in peace." The spirit laughed, a cold and hollow sound. "You think you can stop me, boy? I am Olumo, and my power is beyond your comprehension." Ayo glanced at Sese, who nodded encouragingly. Drawing on the strength of his upbringing and the wisdom Sese had imparted, Ayo faced Olumo. "Your power comes from darkness, but light and love are stronger." With a swift motion, Ayo pulled the amulet from his pouch. It glowed brightly, reacting to Olumo's presence. The spirit recoiled, hissing in anger. Ayo felt a surge of energy course through him as he directed the amulet's power toward Olumo. The spirit shrieked, its form dissolving into wisps of smoke. The villagers began to stare, their strength slowly returning. Ife's eyes filled with gratitude and awe as she watched Ayo and Sese vanquish the evil. "You have saved us," Ife said, her voice choked with emotion. "Thank you," Ayo smiled, though his heart was heavy. "There are more spirits like Olumo. We must remain vigilant." Leaving Eri, Ayo and Sese continued their journey to Igba. The encounters along the way strengthened Ayo's resolve. He realized that his quest was not just about destroying the amulet but also about protecting the harmony between the human world and the spirit world. Days later, they arrived in Igba, a village nestled at the foot of a towering mountain. Baba Tunde, the elder, awaited them in a humble hut. His eyes, though aged, sparkled with knowledge. "I have been expecting you, Ayo," Baba Tunde said, his voice deep and resonant. "The amulet you carry is a powerful artifact. Its destruction requires a ritual known only to the ancient keepers of our land." Ayo leaned forward, eager to learn. "What must I do?" Baba Tunde's expression grew serious. "You must journey to the sacred mountain of Ori, where the spirits of our ancestors reside. There, you will perform the ritual of cleansing. It is a perilous journey, but it is the only way to rid our world of this dark power." Ayo felt a mix of determination and apprehension. His path was clear, but fraught with danger. With Sese by his side and the support of his people, he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. As he set out for the sacred mountain, Ayo couldn't help but feel that his story was part of a larger tapestry, one woven with threads of courage, love, and the timeless struggle between light and darkness. The journey would be long and difficult, but Ayo was prepared to embrace his destiny and protect the world he loved. Ayo and Sese began the ascent to the sacred mountain of Ori. The mountain loomed high, its peaks shrouded in mist, as if the spirits themselves guarded its secrets. The journey was arduous, but Ayo's resolve grew with each step, the amulet's dark energy urging him forward. As they climbed, the air grew colder and thinner. The path became treacherous, with jagged rocks and narrow ledges. One evening, as they rested in a small cave, Ayo built a fire and shared a meal with Sese. The python, sensing Ayo's unease, spoke in soothing tones. "Courage, Ayo. Remember, the strength within you is greater than any darkness we face." Ayo nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. They resumed their climb at dawn, determined to reach the mountain's summit. The higher they went, the more intense the feeling of being watched grew. The forest below seemed a distant memory, replaced by the eerie silence of the heights. As they neared the summit, a figure appeared on the path ahead. Draped in flowing robes, the figure's face was obscured by a hood. Ayo and Sese approached cautiously. "Who are you?" Ayo called out. The figure lifted their hood, revealing an ancient face with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. "I am Adisa, guardian of Ori. You seek the ritual of cleansing, do you not?" Ayo nodded. "Yes, I do. I must destroy this amulet to protect my people." Adisa studied Ayo for a moment, then gestured for them to follow. They were led to a plateau, where a cycle of stones marked the sacred site. In the center stood an altar, carved with intricate symbols. To cleanse the amulet, you must confront your deepest fears and make peace with the spirits of the past, Adisa explained. Place the amulet on the altar and prepare yourself. Ayo placed the amulet on the altar, its dark energy pulsating ominously. As he stepped back, the ground trembled, and the air grew heavy. Shadows began to coalesce around him, forming into ghostly figures. The spirits of the past, ancestors both known and unknown, surrounded Ayo. Their eyes bore into his soul, and a sense of dread washed over him. Sese called protectively around him, but even the python seemed affected by the spirit's presence. One spirit, a tall warrior with a stern face, stepped forward. "Ayo, you carry the weight of your ancestors. To cleanse the amulet, you must understand their pain and their sacrifices." Ayo swallowed hard, his heart pounding. "I am ready. Show me." The spirits began to chant, and Ayo was engulfed in a whirlwind of visions. He saw battles fought long ago, the struggles and triumphs of his people. He felt their pain, their hopes, their dreams. He saw his parents, Ade and Queen Yemi, and understood the depth of their love and sacrifice. As the visions faded, Ayo found himself back at the altar, tears streaming down his face. The spirit's expressions had softened, and the warrior nodded approvingly. You have seen and understood, Ayo. Now, let go of the fear that binds you. Embrace the strength within. Ayo took a deep breath, feeling the fear melt away. He placed his hands on the amulet, its dark energy now mingling with the light of his newfound understanding. The amulet began to glow, its dark power dissipating into the air. A blinding light enveloped the altar, and when it faded, the amulet was no more. The spirits bowed to Ayo before fading into the mist. Adisa stepped forward, a proud smile on their face. You have done well, Ayo. The amulet's power is no longer a threat. You have proven yourself a true guardian of your people and the balance between worlds. Ayo felt a profound sense of relief and accomplishment. He turned to Sese, who nodded in approval. Thank you, Adisa. I will honor this responsibility. As Ayo and Sese descended the mountain, the forest welcomed them with open arms. The journey back to Odan was filled with a sense of renewal and hope. When they arrived, the villagers greeted them with cheers and tears of joy. Ade and Queen Yemi embraced Ayo, their faces glowing with pride. You have done it, my son. You have saved us all, the king said. Ayo smiled, his heart full. It was not just me. It was the strength of our people, the wisdom of our ancestors, and the guidance of Sese. That night, a great celebration was held in Odan. The village was alive with music, dancing, and laughter. Ayo stood at the center, surrounded by his family and friends, feeling a sense of belonging and purpose like never before. Yet, as the festivities continued, Ayo couldn't shake the feeling that his journey was far from over. The forest had many secrets, and the balance between light and darkness was a delicate one. He knew he would need to remain vigilant, ready to face any challenge that might come. But for now, he allowed himself to enjoy the moment, basking in the love and joy of his people. The story of the prince raised by a python was one of bravery, unity, and the enduring power of love. And as Ayo looked to the future, he knew that whatever lay ahead, he would face it with courage and an unwavering spirit. The night sky over Odan was clear and filled with stars, a promise of a new dawn and new adventures to come. The celebration in Odan lasted through the night, and by morning, the village was calm and at peace. Ayo awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. He knew his journey had brought him back to his people, but his bond with the forest and the spirit world was stronger than ever. As the days passed, Ayo settled into his role as both a prince and a guardian. He spent time with his parents, learning the intricacies of leadership, while also reconnecting with the villagers who had become like family. Sese often accompanied him, a constant reminder of the wisdom and strength he had gained from the forest. One afternoon, Ayo was walking along the riverbank when he saw Ife, the girl from Eri, gathering herbs. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. Ayo, how are you? She asked, her eyes shining with gratitude. I am well, Ife. How is your village? Ayo replied, pleased to see her. Much better. Thanks to you. The people are healing, and the crops are growing strong again, Ife said. But there is something I need to tell you. Ayo's curiosity was piqued. What is it? Ife looked around, ensuring they were alone. I have been having dreams. Dreams of a dark force gathering in the east. I fear it may be connected to the spirits we have encountered. Ayo's expression grew serious. The east, that is the direction of the old kingdom, long abandoned. If there is a new threat rising, We must investigate. Determined to uncover the source of this new danger, Ayo gathered a small group of trusted friends from the village, including Ife and a skilled hunter named Kola. With Sese leading the way, they set out toward the Old Kingdom. The journey was long and arduous, taking them through unfamiliar territories and treacherous landscapes. Along the way, they encountered various challenges, from wild animals to treacherous weather, but their resolve never wavered. As they neared the ruins of the Old Kingdom, the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. The once grand structures were now crumbling, overtaken by nature. Yet, an unnatural darkness seemed to hang over the area, as if something malevolent had taken root. One night, as they camped near the outskirts of the ruins, Ayo was visited by a vision. A spirit, cloaked in light, appeared before him. It was a woman with a regal bearing, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Ayo, Prince of Odan," she spoke, her voice echoing like a distant melody. "I am Queen Ireti, once ruler of this kingdom. A great evil has awakened here, threatening to consume all in its path. You must stop it." Ayo felt a chill run down his spine. "What is this evil, Queen Ireti?" "The spirit of an ancient sorcerer, Sese, who once sought to dominate the land. He was defeated and sealed away, but his followers have found a way to awaken him. You must find the seal of Ori and use it to banish him once more." The vision faded, leaving Ayo with a sense of urgency. He shared the vision with his companions, who listened intently. "We must find this seal of Ori," Ayo said. "It's the only way to stop Sese." Guided by Queen Ireti's spirit, Ayo and his friends delved deeper into the ruins. They faced numerous traps and puzzles designed to protect the sorcerer's tomb. It was a test of their courage, intelligence, and teamwork. After days of searching, they finally found the chamber where Sese was imprisoned. The air was thick with dark energy, and at the center of the room stood a stone pedestal, upon which lay the seal of Ori. It was a circular artifact, inscribed with ancient symbols and glowing with a faint blue light. As Ayo approached the pedestal, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Sese, his form wreathed in darkness, his eyes burning with malice. "You think you can stop me, boy?" Sese sneered. "You are no match for my power." Ayo stood tall, his heart steady. "I will not let you harm my people. I have faced darkness before, and I will face you now." With a roar, Sese unleashed a wave of dark energy. Ayo raised the seal of Ori, its light pushing back against the darkness. The struggle was intense, the air crackling with energy. Ayo felt the strength of his ancestors and the support of his friends. Sese called around Sese, distracting him long enough for Ayo to focus his energy through the seal. With a final burst of light, the dark energy was dispelled, and Sese was sucked back into the void from whence he came. The chamber fell silent, the oppressive atmosphere lifting. Ayo, exhausted but triumphant, placed the seal back on the pedestal. Queen Ireti's spirit appeared once more, her expression one of gratitude. "Thank you, Ayo. You have saved us all," she said. "The seal will keep Sese imprisoned. You have proven yourself a true guardian." Ayo bowed his head. "I only did what was necessary. The bond between our people and the spirits must be protected." With the threat of Sese vanquished, Ayo and his companions made their way back to Odan. The journey had tested them in ways they could never have imagined, but it had also strengthened their bonds and reaffirmed their commitment to protecting their world. As they entered the village, the people of Odan welcomed them with open arms. Oba Ade and Queen Yemi embraced their son, their faces filled with pride and relief. "You have done it again, my son," Oba Ade said. "You have protected our land and upheld our traditions." Ayo smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. I could not have done it alone. We are all guardians of this land. That night, a great feast was held in Odan. The village celebrated not just the victory over Sese, but also the strength and unity of their community. Ayo looked around at his people, feeling a profound sense of belonging and purpose. Yet, even as he celebrated, Ayo knew that the balance between light and darkness was a constant struggle. There would always be new challenges, new threats to face. But with the support of his people, the wisdom of the spirits, and the strength he had gained from his journey, he was ready for whatever the future held. The story of Ayo, the prince raised by a python, continued to unfold. It was a tale of courage, unity, and the enduring power of love. And as Ayo gazed up at the starry sky, he knew that his journey was far from over. The future was full of possibilities, and he was prepared to face them with an unwavering spirit and a heart full of hope. If you want part 2, type part 2 in the comments.
Thanks for watching. For more content, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment on this video.